This is the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Jay Banky. Hugh Jackson was in the news after Brian Flores, former coach of the Miami Dolphins. He'd been in coaching interviews for the many vacancies this offseason, filed a lawsuit against the NFL for, while the Rooney Rule works in principle, it doesn't amount to any sort of results, and it is a damn shame to see the discrepancy in the lack of black coaches in the NFL.
I mean, it's a flat-out joke.
It's an absolute joke, and the NFL kind of like coming out immediately when the lawsuit was filed and saying like there is no, they didn't even try to investigate it. I saw someone tweet that Tom Brady and the Patriots got investigated much longer for inflated, deflated footballs than a lawsuit talking about not just NFL issues, but racial, societal, real-life issues. Well, Hugh Jackson decided to try to jump on that to get press for himself. He wasn't helping Brian Flores, and that's clearly evident now because he originally indicated subtly that he was paid to lose games or paid extra to lose games, and he told CNN that he wasn't after a stupid interview on ESPN where he said absolutely nothing and made a fool out of himself and made everything about him.
That was the most rambling of gibberish I've ever seen on SportsCenter in my life. And I've seen, who's the MMA fighter, the Irish dude?
Conor McGregor?
Yeah, I've seen that guy in there all the time. He makes far more sense than whatever Hugh Jackson said, and I'm not a Conor McGregor fan, but...
I mean, I don't understand why he would... I feel like the conversation that Brian Flores was trying to bring up has now been totally pushed to the side by everybody because Hugh Jackson got into the conversation.
Well, now the spotlight's about Hugh.
Yeah.
See, and the thing is...
He, like, watered it down.
And here's my thing with, I don't think anyone should get preferential treatment based on the color of their skin either way.
No.
But honestly, if you're a football owner, why would you not want the best possible coach for your team? Regardless of color of their skin or anything, and I hate to think that there is, and I know there are racist people out there, and it sucks, and I hate to think that Brian Flores, that's part of it, because that's just ridiculous. But Hugh, I know Jay's so mad about Hugh.
I used to defend him.
And that's the thing is, what on earth? Why would you come out and be like, I'm just going to make this about me? And you're right. It totally derailed, Brian Flores's, his case, his grievance. And like right now, we're talking about frickin' Hugh Jackson.
Like I said, I used to defend this guy. You know why I defended him? Because I'm just a guy who watches it like you guys. I knew that they were going to lose because their roster sucked. So when he signed up, he had to know more than me because you're in the NFL. You should know more than me. And you're going to tell me you signed a contract now. Well, they laid out this 4-year plan. I didn't really understand it, but I signed it anyways. You're an idiot then. What is wrong with you? Like I said, I knew the plan. They never wrote it up for me. And I knew their plan. It was that obvious. And then after you win one game in 2 seasons, they're like, all right, we feel bad. We're coming back for a third year. And you still continue to lose. And you never took the blame for it.
I guess I'm glad in a way that Hugh, admitted his lie or his attempt at a lie because, hopefully that gives Brian Flores a little bit more time to find people that he can actually work with to get this real conversation, any legitimate conversation that the NFL needs to take seriously, especially right now when you look at your league. You completely push it away, and then a few days later you're going to say that, oh, well, we do need to take a look at the racial discrepancies and some of the societal impacts on our league. Like, again, just like Hugh Jackson, the NFL being as vague as possible as they normally are with Roger Goodell, and yet he's still not the worst commissioner in all of pro sports. Somehow, some way, but he's damn near close to it. I'm glad that Brian Flores has a chance to, with his lawyers and with, the conversations he can have, get better people on board, because Hugh Jackson jumped on when Brian Flores mentioned being offered incentives for losing, and Brian Flores wasn't going to do that. You don't want a guy like Hugh Jackson on that because what you just talked about, not knowing the plan. Now, I'm sure the Browns didn't exactly tell him. They did say that their mindset was to win. They didn't tell him how that was going to work. First tearing it all down, then, kind of being able to build up enough assets to then really enhance the talent on the team like they did in year 3. He still didn't win with that talent to start the season, as owner Jimmy Haslam said. I'm sure that there was stuff done wrong by the rest of the Browns front office as well. I'm sure there was. Was it illegal like he was saying? No. But guess what the biggest difference between Brian Flores and Hugh Jackson is? Brian Flores dealt with a stripped-down roster
and won.
And still won games. Almost took Miami out of a position to get the quarterback that they were talked about forever with Tua Tagovailoa. And yet they still found a way to get him because they were in that 5th spot. But they went 5-11. I know in Cleveland, if we look at 5-11, that's terrible. And for any NFL team, 5-11 is bad. But
yeah, if we would have went 5-11 with that roster when Hugh originally had, I would have been shocked.
Absolutely shocked.
But that's what leadership gets you, man.
That's what leadership and coaching gets you.
Remember how many of those games did we lose that season that were like really, really close? Like we could have won it, like the Packers and stuff like that, where coaching would have helped you win that. Flores won those. That dude, he won 9 games and got fired, Kevin.
That should have been a red flag for everybody about this league. When I know. Again, I know
Dan Snyder owns a team, and this guy got fired after 9 wins. I got nothing.
I don't know. I don't know what he was able to, how he's been able to progress that team. Like that's exactly the type of progression that you want to see. Everybody in the NFL wants to see like that quick turnaround, like the Browns had from 2019 to 2020. In order to sustain it, usually teams kind of have to go through the growing pains and continue to get better and better every year. Miami was getting better and better every year. Brian Flores said and showed that he could coach. Hugh Jackson thought he could just show up and you just dump a bunch of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, all this talent. You just dump all of them in one city and you get to let them go play. No, you actually still have to coach them. Whether you have great talent or just enough talent that, part of the 1% that still made it to the NFL, they're still professionals. They still have some sort of talent. You didn't find a way to even progress their skills at all. You didn't coach at all. I used to frustrate the old co-hosts of the show and probably audio and everybody else that tuned in when I used to do the Coach Kev's Corner because I would talk about coaching. Yes, I've never coached at a professional level. But anybody that's coached at any level understands what your job is. It just becomes more enhanced, and there's a lot more pressure on it. There's a lot more nuances that go into it that I couldn't break down for an NFL coach or a football coach. But you're supposed to have the player's best interest at heart at all times. Hugh did not. Brian Flores did. And the NFL does not have the best interest of being a model. As much money as they bring in, and as many eyes are about to be on them next weekend, they do a awful, awful job of being a model during the off-field stuff for society and how that should work. They are more an extension of that and, a microcosm of how bad society really is that people don't want to see and how bad racial issues really still are in this country and should not be. The NFL is more of an example of the bad, not what they should be with the good.
There's a movie that just came out on Netflix. It's called Don't Look Up. I don't know if you guys saw it. And it's about an asteroid that's coming.
I saw it.
It's about an asteroid coming to Earth, and pretty much just everyone's like, just don't look up, don't deal with it, and live your lives. It doesn't matter. It's like that's what the NFL is. It's don't look up. They're just like, don't worry about it. Just enjoy the game on Sunday. You'll love it. But whatever this guy does in the offseason doesn't matter. This guy's getting fired, and he doesn't deserve to be. There's only one black coach in the NFL when it's like 80% black players. It doesn't matter because we have the best product, and we know you're going to eat it. And it's insulting to all of us, and we don't even care.
And as soon as something is brought up and someone's eyes do go up, immediately their eyes are forced down and it's shoved underneath the rug. Just like what Brian Flores was trying to do, what the conversation he was trying to start got pushed under the rug
Yep.
because of Hugh Jackson, and the NFL loved it that someone like that came to the forefront.
He
and
probably got
to
a
push under-
bonus for that.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
know what drives me nuts? Is the only time like anything really happens when there's just straight out video of someone hitting some lady or a text that from Bill Belichick that's like hard evidence, like here it is, you can't say anything that it's not true. And if it's something
Yeah.
like, oh, we need more coaches, they're like, oh, they're getting the opportunity, they're all getting this and that. There's no hard evidence to prove them wrong. They just don't care.
But see but here's the thing. What you said is like 80% of the players are African American, right? But to me, okay, that doesn't mean that we should have parity in coaching just because of that. Like I said before, it's got to be the best. It's got to be the best person.
Yeah.
Now I do find it hard to believe that only one.
Yeah. If
In-
80% of
of
the
all the
players are
coaches.
black, that means most of the league has been like that for a while, right?
True, but
those are the people that know the game the best, correct?
No, I don't think so. Not necessarily, because not all of the best head coaches
Are
were
usually
stellar.
former players.
Were stellar players.
Well, usually
Or pro
they're
players.
not the good players. They're the backup quarterbacks, whatever. But the point
I'm
is,
just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's you need to take it. It shouldn't matter what color your skin is at all. And if that is the case, like with Brian Flores, then he has a legitimate grievance, and that's BS. You know, I agree with that. So, but I do find it hard to believe that you have had so many African American players play at such a high level, and that so few are deemed to reach the level of being a head coach.
Well, what the
so I
problem
agree with
was-
you there, but I don't think it's just because
they were using them as their token interview. That's what they
Right.
were doing to
Yes.
him. They had the other guy hired, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to bring you in just so we fit into the Rooney Rule." They really never wanted to hire the guy.
See, and that's the thing, and that's why I question the Rooney Rule, because what good does that really do other than be like, okay, we're just going to check a box off,
And that's
because it's ridiculous.
Why does there have to be a rule? You should just do it because it's the
Well,
right
you-
thing
well,
to
you
do.
should-
That's what
you should just-
aggravates me. Like, you're billionaires, and you need a rule to tell you to do the right thing. And
Yeah,
you,
it's-
even when you find a rule, you find a way around it.
But that's just it. To me,
I hate billionaires.
It shouldn't matter, because it should be the best person for the job. You should interview the
Exactly.
best people for the job.
yes.
Right?
And-
And I think what happens is with the Rooney Rule, because you have to bring in someone that obviously they didn't think he was the best person for the job. I'm assuming. I don't know, because I don't know the motivations. I can't claim to know what's going on in the owners' heads, right? So even they bring him in, and knowing that they're not going to hire him, that's just wasting his time. That's an insult to him.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Because
totally is.
obviously he's a good coach. Obviously he's a
mean-
good coach.
Yes. I
See,
can tell, like,
so-
the dude is a defensive coach, and he has a quarterback that everyone thought was garbage and ready to toss him away, and he turned him around. A defensive coach turned an offensive coach around, got 9 wins, and got fired.
And I
And then just gets totally jobbed by these other guys, just bringing him a token interview.
And that's why
So
that's
wrong.
That's why I don't like the Rooney Rule,
Yeah.
because it leads that to happen, and I think it's disrespectful.
Yes. Yes, and I think it's also a team that won like 8 straight games or something like that, because
Yeah.
they had like 1 win, and Brian Flores found a way to get the message to his guys not only make win a couple games. They started to pressure that borderline getting into the playoffs if they were able. It was a miracle if it would have happened, but they came really close to being able to do that, and they were in that hunt conversation for a little while as well. So it's the NFL, and I hate this common adage, but it's a cliche that's still true in society. It's not about what you know; it's about who you know when you get a job, or at least a job in a high profile career. But there's too much of that, and there's too much shadiness to that in the NFL
Who's
with
the
guys
guy,
getting jobs.
The Browns head coach that got it for nepotism or nephetism, as Gerard Cherry says.
Oh, I don't.
Our head coach, the process. He was so bad, and then oh man, I can't remember who it was.
I don't know. We'll let you think about it in the break.
He was terrible, and he got another head coaching job. Like, that's all I'm saying. These guys
Yes.
just keep getting jobs just because they know somebody, and that's not right.